bring Jim up to talk about the mishap that took place last Friday. This was a major problem. We had quite a mess at the wastewater treatment plant. It involved a lot of people to join together to bring the problem under control. Much thanks to Commissioner Corellis, Deputy Commissioner Fiacco, and all those the DPW workers that assisted. So, Jim, if you could, for the benefit of the board and the public here, because the board has not really been completely informed as to what's taking place here, because, as I said, it started on Friday night. We had the weekend, and there was a lot to do, and a lot has been done since that time, and it's still unfolding, the cleanup process. So maybe you could brief the board here as to where we are.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thursday evening, towards the end of the day, there was a pump that was either not shut off or inadvertently turned on, and which resulted in the sludge being pumped out into the wastewater treatment plant and onto the site. That was discovered.
I have a deaf person back here who cannot hear even with hearing aids. So could you please talk into the microphone?
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll start all over. Is this a little better?
Just talk into the microphone, and actually
We understand.
the podium should be turned so that it faces the audience as well.
We're here to address the board, so if you would remain that. Make sure you speak into the microphone, Jim, please.
Starting on Thursday evening, at the end of the day, one of the pumps that pumps the sludge from one tank into another was either inadvertently left on or inadvertently turned on by mistake at the end of the day. The pump ran all night, resulting in sludge being pumped into the wastewater treatment plant, basement, first floor, throughout the garage. Actually left the building as well, went out into the site, and it was discovered 6:30 Friday morning by one of the contractors on the site when he showed up for work. Immediately they started to react to that. Fortunately, we were able to get it fully contained so that none of the waste actually left the site. Which was very fortunate that we had both contractors on site already, and they were able to pull together, burn up some areas, be able to get it all controlled, get the pump shut down. As Keith had indicated, a lot of people were involved with cleanup. Immediately on Friday, when discovered, George Lovely, the wastewater treatment plant operator, made calls to DEC to properly notify them. We actually, all the proper paperwork finally got submitted on Monday the 16th. Appropriate notices were filed on the 16th with the 2-hour notice, which is required. There were some delays, basically because the equipment and contact information that was in the pump station was not able to be utilized because it was damaged. The important part was still contained on site. DEC is aware of it, and they said all the proper procedures have been followed with this spill. We also notified the town insurance company that day, Rose and Kieran, who in turn notified the actual insurance agency, and one of their adjusters visited the site that same day. Basically, looking at it, indicated that yes, this is definitely a claim that will be processed through the insurance. Rose and Kieran in turn requested for an advance to the town, $25,000 to aid in the cleanup process. They're expecting that first check to be received beginning of this coming week. They indicated New York MIR, NYMER, is the actual insurance agency, indicated all invoices need to be reviewed and approved by them before cutting any checks to the town. All the checks are going to go through the town, since you are the insuree, and then you'll have to release the checks to the contractors, and that it'll just pass through the town. The town should not be paying any invoices until the money is actually received from the insurance company. The main cleanup work, which was contracted with ServPro, they were retained on Friday to up and disinfect the building. And they've been working on that pretty much around the clock since late Friday. And they're continuing to work there. We're expecting their work to be completed hopefully Friday. It's probably going to continue into early next week, at which point then the bill will bring in an industrial hygienist, certified industrial hygienist who will be able to do the appropriate tests to make sure that the building's safe to go back in for biological and air quality and so on. ServPro had requested a deposit in advance of doing the work, and that's kind of what triggered the Rose and Cannon requesting a $25,000 advance. Again, that money's been received, and they'd like to get the $10,000 deposit paid as quickly as possible as soon as we get the funds in from the insurance agency. Obviously, the town attorney was notified, because there's going to be a lot of ramifications between the contractors that are working right now on site, lost time, equipment losses. There's a lot of materials that are stored inside the plant that had not yet been installed, that is going to have to be replaced. And the insurance company, NYMER, also indicated those will all be covered under the policy. Due to the contaminated nature of the site with the sludge, and we notified the contractors verbally immediately that they're not supposed to be going into the building. And we're actually posting signs at the building now that no one's to go in without personal protective gear. We're doing everything that's necessary and possible to make sure that the health and safety of all the workers and contractors and people that are on site are properly protected. Delaware engineers, in cooperation with George Lovely and ourselves, they're going to be identifying any safeguards that can be put in place to prevent something like this to occur again. They're going to be going through the whole plant to make sure that while this process, the interim process before the plant is fully automated, when we get completed with construction, that we won't be subject to this type of occurrence again. They're also going to be doing, once we get clearance from the industrial hygienist that they can go back in, and Delaware's engineers are going to be going in to prepare an assessment of the damages, estimate of the repairs, the replacement costs. There's brand new equipment that just got installed that has to be replaced now because of this. And the insurance agency indicated that those will all be covered, as well as any existing equipment that wasn't to be replaced as part of the construction wastewater upgrade projects will also be covered for repair. So they're going to assess all existing equipment that is subjected to any type of contact with the waste, and putting that together, giving it to the adjuster for the insurance company, who in turn will review that and agree to those costs and approvals, and work will be moving forward to correct the damages that were occurred due to this leak. As I indicated, we have a certified industrial hygienist who will come up to the site tomorrow to start their initial work. We'll make a program plan based upon the impacts that have been done. And this afternoon, we all met with the insurance agency to discuss the requirements for processing payments for claims, reviewing assessments, cost repairs, etc., so that it'll be as smooth and as quicker process as we can get through the whole thing. The insurance indicated that the town does have a $1,000 deductible, which actually is very, very minor considering the amount of damage that's there. And that, to efficiently process payments, that they said that the town board should authorize the supervisor to disperse money to the contractors based upon invoices that they approve and upon receipt of the monies that they cut. So it's literally going to be a pass-through. They won't cut the checks directly to the contractors because they're not the insured agents. So my recommendation is the board do that so that those that are working on the site are working diligently on it without any real other than verbal contract because of the urgent nature of the work. So.
And what we're going to do at the end of the agenda is put forward an
we're all gonna work very hard to get this back on schedule and get this place cleaned up as quick as possible.
What is the estimated total cost of the cleanup? Do you know?
That we do not know at all at this point. The important part is to get ServPro completed so that we can actually get in and assess what damages have occurred. Equipment needs to be removed, both existing and new that just got installed, and I don't even want to venture a guess.
Would it be safe to say the town's cost will be $1,000?
Yes. There may be a little bit with, I believe that there's a limit on the cleanup costs, which is the ServPro, the emergency, literally cleaning up. We don't know that final cost yet, but I think it's a $50,000 limit. So there is a little bit of exposure there if the cleanup costs were to exceed that, but we won't know that unfortunately, until we're done.
Thank you.
Do you know how far this hack will set back the project?
At this point, we know it's going to set back the project slightly. It could be 2 weeks, but until we get in to do the assessment, 2 weeks is just what I'm assuming that we can't get in the building to work right now. You know, it's essentially almost been a week now. We know it's going to be another week before we can potentially even get back in and start doing the assessments for any of the work. So we know it's going to delay the contract for the completion of the wastewater treatment plant, but how much? And is it critical? No, it's really not critical at this point because the consent order has been lifted. The town is on schedule, they're operating, and of course with their current speedies permit, and there's still additional work that needs to be completed, off-site work that the town's aware of that's coming down. That would be necessary, so it's not truly going to affect anything in regards to the operation or the continued operation of the plant.
Okay, I have a hard question.
Okay.
Ready? Was it part of the scope of service of Chazen to inspect the safety valve system and to bring any deficiencies to the attention of the town?
There is no safety valve system, and no, it was not. It literally was a pump with a switch. You turn it on, it works. You shut it off, it shuts off. And it was an interim operation so that we could satisfy the consent order to get the plant up and running. It's really just the disposal of the sludge that comes out of the wastewater treatment plant. The pump pumps up to the tank then gets pumped out into the trucks and they haul it off to Albany to dispose of. And it's a manual operation.
That won't stay that way in the future, though. Won't there be an automatic shut-off with alarms and whatnot?
It's a full-blown, what they call SCADA system, which is an automated system. It'll have float switches, monitors, alarms. Unfortunately, that new SCADA system won't be in place and operational until the plant is completed. We knew that, and part of the approval that DEC gave, when they lifted the consent order, was that there's going to be manual operation of the plant until the full construction is completed. So unfortunately, this is an incident that could have been foreseen. We're actually going to be going through and looking at other safeguards, as I indicated earlier, just to say what can we do extra above and beyond what is an industry norm. Normally this is not an issue, it's just something that gets done and it's operated and watched.
So you've already begun the process of making sure this doesn't happen, because this is going to be offline.
You gotta remember this occurred Friday.
No, and I get it.
They are working, still single activity, working with Delaware engineering to figure out how we can hook up a temporary alarm pump system in the one tank that was pumped out but it wasn't shut off. Unfortunately, it's only going to be a local alarm, so they have to know it's there, it's going to go off, it's not hooked up to the SCADA system. There could be a significant cost associated with this to do these temporary hookups. Until we know what they are, we don't know.
And will the incident impede town operations of the plant during the downtime?
Honestly, honestly, the plant's back up and running. Still single electric and everybody, I mean, I think by Saturday,
Is it like?
they've made special provisions, they're going with personal protective gear on. You know, you can go in, I wouldn't walk in there myself without having the mask, breather mask with the filters and, you know, the people that are in there, they're in full white suits. They're not white by the time they get it done, but, they're in personal protective gear to make sure that they're not exposed to anything. It's biologicals, that's really what it is. It's
I
the worst
smelled
stuff.
it when I was driving home tonight, when I was coming up Route 9.
Yeah.
I smelled it, but I didn't know if that was normal or if that
No,
was
this
as a
is-
result of the mishap.
This is, it's worse than what it normally is. But that'll obviously dissipate as the cleanup goes on. They're still, like I said, they're still in there just doing the regular cleanup. Interior in the building, washing things down, removing the cabinets, removing the walls. Because you gotta get behind every little nook and cranny to get rid of all the little biologics. Because it really was, it found out every single little nook and cranny. It went into electrical conduits, we had to pull out electrical wire and flush out the line, so. Anything else?
I don't have anything for you, Anthony, are there being internal controls put in as to who's watching it down there now? I've spoken with some of the people involved in this.
So we're all over it now. We were just a little late.
No, and I get it, it's been self-contained, so it's not like as bad as it could be.
Oh, yeah, it could have been a lot worse. We were fortunate that the contractors stepped up and got the machines on, where we could get a berm onto the front, make sure it didn't leave the property. And that's what DEC was most concerned about, that it stayed on our property. Instead of, because it would have been hell to pay if they went off our property.
Hierarchical structure down there as well. I mean, is there a chain of command ever? Who originally should have known of it? Who should have went to second, third after that? I mean, are we starting to get that in place as well?
Yes, yes, we are. There'll be more than just one person, in charge of that switch from now on.
Thank you.
There's also measures being put in place.
Yes, Delaware and George Lovely are gonna sit together and work out and really sit down with all the staff employees again to make sure that they fully understand. There was an operation transition before the plant went on, where people went in and got trained on the new equipment, what needed to be done, and we're gonna formalize that even more now.
That pump and that tank,
That pump, that-
safeguards stuff to it.
Yeah, they're working on putting the safeguards in, but it's also, we're gonna be posting little signs now that kind of say, okay, if you turn this switch off, you have to turn this switch before you leave. If, watch what you touch, there's gonna be different things put in, which, are again, are kind of above and beyond the normal, but we're gonna make sure it's done.
Can we downgrade the pumps, or does it need to be as fast-paced as it
No,
is?
pumps, it's not, it's basically.
Well, I mean, I know that it pumps within even a 15 or 20-minute period, it pumps a lot.
It's a great pump, it's
Yeah.
a pump, it's extremely quiet, that was one of the things that they said, is that the pump that they put in new is what they need. It's very quiet, so quiet that you really don't even hear it running while you're in the room, as opposed to the one that was in there, they said it shook the whole building, and you always knew it was on, so it was kind of like the alarm. So, I think it's people getting accustomed to the new equipment and how it operates, how it sounds. And that'll take time, but during the, once it's fully operational, everything's gonna be automated. There's more or less, you're not gonna be turning anything on manually or turning it off, but you have to be able to go through and make sure.
So how is it currently done? Is it hardwired in, or you said it's literally a switch with breaker?
It's looks like a little light, it's a regular switch for a
Light
switch. It looks like, it doesn't look like a light switch, but it's a switch. You turn it up, turns it on, it's just like you're flicking a light. It's just hardwired directly, the pump is all hooked up, the pump is there.
Has there been a schedule to pump it out?
How many times a day, Anthony?
Maybe they keep it on 10 minutes, 15 minutes at a time, or?
Day,
They're filling it up so they can pump it out the following day,
Yeah,
you know, and then it just wasn't watched. I mean, that pump, the new pump pumps a lot more and
yeah, quick.
should have been watched better. Should have never left the premises.
For a project that was going so smoothly, and you being involved in a lot of these, this project is extremely well. It's a shame that this happened during the construction process. It's a shame it happened, period, but, you know, we're gonna see a little bit of delay here, but fortunately, the insurance companies are stepping right up as well. They're not hesitating. I'm sure that they're gonna be looking at things very closely because they're paying for everything, but
Is this just assumed to be an accident, or will there be any other form of investigation?
Part of this is the investigation, they're looking into what truly happened. The insurance company's gonna be looking into it. I know the town, Anthony, Dan, and George, they're looking into finding out what the particulars were regarding that. Until that investigation is completed, it's hard to say. You know.
Thanks, Jim.